also a part in the story where you say you used to wet the bed so that, well, in hopes of no one getting in the bed with you as well.
Right.
So can we acknowledge that there was some sexual abuse as well?
Yes.
I know it's probably hard to remember because one, it's so long ago, and you have quite the story of a lot of things that have happened to you. So I'm sure just based upon trauma that has happened, a lot of it you just try to get rid of and not remember. But can you remember as to how early the sexual abuse was, and do you remember who it was with?
Okay. I remember I was as young. This is the only incident I remember that I can remember as young. I was in pull-ups actually, and I remember when the situation happened. I remember I went to my birth mother because I was bleeding, and she just sat me in the sink and like kind of like put my bottom in the sink, and she was just like, "You're gonna be okay." Like it was, it was nothing.
So it seems like she knew that you were
Yeah,
sexually
I
abused.
of course, like of course.
Do you think she had part in it?
Well, knowing
Yes.
is knowing. Like if you know what's going on, you know what's going on.
Correct.
That's why I just sometimes I just be like, man, I wish I can say that she was an addict, but she wasn't an addict. So what was her excuse for her behavior? You know, could it have been mental health issues? I don't know, because in our community, mental health issues is not discussed.
Right.
So from that age on, like I said again, I thought every household was like that. So I thought that if a man did not touch me sexually, I didn't, like, I got that.
You didn't have any value. That was how you felt like you brought value.
Yeah, exactly, like that. I thought that, like, if a man don't touch me sexually, that means that he don't love me.
Mm-hmm.
So because that's how I thought, once again, every household was. But eventually I found out that the household I was living in was really dysfunctional.
Yeah, to say the least, amongst a lot of other things.
Yeah.
As a child, you should be receiving love just because of who you are.
Yeah.
And as a mother, you should be protecting your child from
Yeah.
any type of predator that may be sexually abusing her, looking at her a certain way, let alone taking it that step to actually, you know, sexually abuse your daughter.
Yeah.
So, one, I'm so sorry that happened to you,
Yeah.
Meca.
I tell my inner child that all the time. Like, I did nothing wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, even though that was like I'm 42 now, I'll be 43 this year. That was like 40 years ago, when it all started. Like, I did nothing wrong, and I got to keep reminding myself that.
Right. And so, how do you start to internalize a lot of this, right? You're being sexually abused at a young age. You're seeing alcoholism at probably its heights at a young age. You're seeing the men that your mom is bringing around struggle with substance abuse and, doing drugs and all of these things. As a young teenager, young adult, do you start ever engaging in any of that because you've normalized it at an early age?
Actually, I did. I actually remember the first time that I did drugs. The first time I did drugs, I believe I know I was between the age of 10 and 14. I don't really remember the exact age, but I met this guy. It's always with a guy. I met this guy, this adult guy, and he was just like, "Hey, he wanted to introduce me to his brother. His brother wants me to take some pictures. So I'm like, okay, I'll take some pictures for him. I'm fairly good looking, fairly. So, but the pictures that he wanted me to take were nude photos. Me, I'm a kid. This grown man, real grown man, is asking me to do that, and like it didn't like it wasn't like I was like I didn't find that weird, because of everything that was normalized in my household, I was just like more like, okay, you know. So I remember the price. I remember he used to give me $50 to take pictures for him. $50. And that was when that's around the time that I knew that I had something that guys want and I can get paid for it.
Mm.
So that right there had me going to school with penny candy, that had me buying lunch, that had me getting all the things that kids around my age was getting. So I would continue to take the pictures for Guy. And then Guy asked me to, hey, won't you? By the way, I'm not from Florida. I'm from Baltimore.
And you're
So
living in Baltimore at this time.
yeah, I'm living in Baltimore. I'm living in Baltimore at that time. So Guy asked me, hey, I need you to go to New York and meet my brother and grab something for me. And of course, this was before 9/11, way before 9/11. So I'm like, okay, sure. He gives me an envelope and he says, do not open this envelope. And I did what I was told. I don't open the envelope. I goes to New York, gets the book bag, go up on the plane, comes back on the train, and his and Guy's girlfriend didn't come pick me up. Usually she would have, but she didn't. So he came and got me, went to his crib, and I gave him the book bag, and he did everything that he was going to do. And then he had a grinder, and I seen him. I never forget. He was sitting in a recliner, and his feet was up, he had the music playing, and he was grinding it, and he put it on a mirror. And he sniffed some of it, and he passed the mirror to me, and I'm like, right there in that second, I gotta choose wisely. Am I gonna do this, whatever it is? Mind you, I don't even know what it is. I just know that this guy gives me money to be able to get things. If I do it, that'll make me win points, more points with him. If I don't do it, then what's gonna happen? Is he gonna stop giving me money?
And you're a young kid. You don't know how to make those type of
Yeah, I
decisions in
don't.
that moment. You probably aren't brave enough to say no.
Yeah,
You can't even say the word no at home. So you haven't developed that skill set to know how to do things like that.
right, right. So when he passed it to me, I did it. I sniffed it, and now I know it was cocaine. And I just remember the music being so loud, and I just remember his friends being over there, and I remember having sex with multiple men. And when it was done and over with, he just dropped me off. So that was my first experience with drugs.
How did that make you feel after? Obviously, this is your first time ever doing drugs, but I can imagine that's your first time ever having sex with multiple men in one night. Like, was your body sore? Internally, how'd you feel? Physically, how'd you feel?
Well, it wasn't the first time that I had sex with multiple men a night.
Oh, wow.
It I'm gonna say it was the first time I had sex with multiple men a night that wasn't really. I didn't care. I was on drugs,
Yeah.
so I don't know if it was three guys that had sex with me or six. I don't know. I just remember coming in, going out, coming in, going out. Um, so there's that part. And what else did you say?
How did you feel? Like, obviously, you just did drugs for the first time, so that has an effect on you. But then you also have had sex with multiple people
Right,
altogether.
right.
Internally, were you hurting? Physically, were you
I
hurting?
was I was so confused because I knew that my birth father, I knew that he was on this substance. Um, and I remember sitting on the steps, and I remember seeing addicts walk back and forth, and I would look at them and be like, mm, what is it about that thing that's got them out here like that? Like, I don't get it. So when that happened, that's when I seen me walking up and down that street. So yeah.
Wow. And I'm sure that's so much to process as a young adult
Very,
because you're
yeah.
saying you're anywhere between 12 and
Yeah, 12
14.
and 14. Yeah.
Your first time
Yep.
doing coke, Also, your first time having multiple partners in one night. So I want to back up a little bit because you said this wasn't your first time having multiple partners in one
Right.
night. When is the other time that you can at least remember?
Um, I really don't. I really can't remember. But like I said, my mom had multiple men in her bed, and like if like she might, let's just say if she had two guys over, one in the morning, one at night. I'm sure one in the morning and I had one in the morning, one at night. If they came in my room, you feel me? I just can't. I can't say, oh yeah, I actually did that at a young age, but I'm pretty sure, it did happen.